In a distant village, there was a young woman named Raelia. She was known for her skill in weaving beautiful cloth. Her tapestries were full of intricate patterns, and she was admired by everyone. But Raelia's pride made her blind to the needs of others. She only created cloth for herself and never offered to help her neighbors. One day, a visitor, Zara, came to Raelia and asked her to weave a special cloth for a wedding. Raelia agreed, but only because she knew the bride was wealthy and would pay her handsomely. As Raelia worked on the cloth, she was distracted and didn't put her full effort into the weaving. When the cloth was finally finished, it was not as beautiful as she had hoped. It was uneven, and the colors were dull. The bride, Zara, accepted the cloth reluctantly, disappointed at its lackluster appearance. She paid Raelia, as promised, but her disappointment was very clear. Gossip soon spread through the village about Raelia's poor workmanship, and her once flawless reputation began to crumble. Feeling threatened, Raelia's heart filled with jealousy toward Zara. The young bride had become the center of admiration for her kindness and beauty, qualities that Raelia lacked. Desperate to reclaim her standing, Raelia devised a plan to tarnish Zara's image. One evening, Raelia invited Zara to her home under the guise of mending the wedding cloth. She treated Zara kindly, offering tea and sweet words, all while setting her trap. Raelia slyly planted an expensive bracelet, a gift she had once been given by a merchant, in Zara's bag when she wasn't looking. Once Zara left, Raelia feigned a dramatic discovery of the theft and spread the word through the village. The villagers were shocked but hesitant to accuse Zara outright. Zara was called to defend herself, and though she pleaded her innocence, the bracelet was found in her bag. The shame weighed heavily on Zara, and the once cheerful bride became withdrawn and unhappy. Days went by, and Raelia basked in her hollow victory. The villagers, however, couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Zara had always been honest and giving. Meanwhile, Raelia's behavior grew increasingly suspicious, her arrogance more pronounced, her laughter sharper, her weaving still lacking its former brilliance. One morning, as Raelia wove a new tapestry, her loom began to creak ominously. Ignoring the sound, she worked faster, eager to create a masterpiece to regain her dwindling prestige. Suddenly, the loom snapped, the threads tangling around her hands and binding her tightly. No matter how she struggled, she could not free herself. In her desperation, she called for help. The villagers arrived, and an elderly woman stepped forward. "These threads," the woman said, inspecting the loom, "are knotted with dishonesty and malice. Raelia, what have you done to deserve such a punishment?" Tears streamed down Raelia's face as the truth of her actions weighed on her. The trap she had laid for Zara had ensnared her instead. The villagers murmured among themselves, their faces etched with a mixture of pity and anger. Zara, who had been quietly standing in the crowd, stepped forward. Despite the humiliation she had endured, her eyes still held a glimmer of kindness. "Raelia," Zara said softly, "what you did hurt me deeply. But I believe that jealousy is a burden that twists the heart. If you are willing to admit your wrongdoing and make amends, I am willing to forgive you." Raelia, whose pride was shattered and spirit broken, sobbed uncontrollably. "I am so sorry," she cried. "I was blinded by envy and fear. I thought that tearing you down would elevate me, but all I've done is destroy myself. Please, forgive me." Zara nodded, her forgiveness sincere, but the villagers were less easily convinced. One of them, a stern man named Idris, stepped forward. "Words are easy," he said. "If Raelia truly wants to make amends, she must prove it through her actions." The elderly woman who had examined the loom spoke again. "Raelia, your loom is broken, and the threads of your life are tangled with deceit. If you wish to repair what has been lost, you must weave a new tapestry, not for yourself, but for the village. Each thread must come from a kindness you have shown. Only then will your loom be whole again. Raelia looked at her ruined loom, the snapped threads like the shards of her fractured reputation. Though the task seemed daunting, she nodded solemnly. I will do it, she said. I will weave a tapestry of kindness. From that day forward, Raelia began her journey of change. She helped mend torn clothes for the poor, taught children how to weave, and shared her knowledge freely with anyone who asked. With every act of generosity, she spun a single thread and carefully added it to her loom. At first, the villagers were skeptical, but as weeks turned into months, Raelia's sincerity became undeniable. Her tapestry grew, each thread shimmering with a glow that came from the purity of her heart. One day, Zora visited Raelia's home. The once proud weaver now wore a humble smile as she worked diligently at her loom. Zora gasped when she saw the nearly finished tapestry. It was the most breathtaking creation she had ever seen. The pattern seemed to tell a story of struggle, growth, and forgiveness. You've done it, Zora said, her voice filled with admiration. Raelia looked up, tears in her eyes. I couldn't have done it without your forgiveness, Zora. You gave me the chance to change. When the tapestry was finally complete, Raelia presented it to the village. Its beauty was unparalleled, and its message was clear: change is possible, but it requires humility, effort, and the courage to face one's mistakes. The villagers forgave Raelia fully, and her reputation was restored, not as a proud and selfish weaver, but as a woman who had learned the true meaning of kindness and community. Raelia had indeed fallen into the trap she laid for others, but in doing so, she found the strength to climb out and become a better person.